What's going on, my friends? This is the first video of a three-part series to mobilize our hips. This first one, we're going to focus on our hip flexors and our quads. All you will need is a kettlebell, maybe a yoga mat or a blanket, and maybe somewhere to just lay under some trees and peek the sunshine coming through. It's going to be a nice time. Let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. So the first step in any mobility sequence is to soften the tissue. So we're going to do, let's lie ourselves onto our back and let's place the kettlebell on our hip flexors. So I'm going to extend one knee away and I'm going to place the kettlebell right below my hip bone. And from here, you're already probably going to feel some pressure, some tension in these tight areas. And what we're going to do, we're just going to rock the kettlebell side to side, up and down, and just kind of scraping these congested areas. And whatever spot kind of makes you cringe a little bit and maybe makes your foot twitch a little bit, just allow yourself to just sit there, breathe. Right now I'm using the corner of the bottom of the kettlebell to kind of dig into this area. And as we're here, maybe you'd like to be a savage and flip the kettlebell upside down to get the handle involved. And yeah, it's a little bit more intense, but you don't have to, only if you want to. And if you really want to be a savage, you can get into the corner to really dig into that deeper layer. And again, once you find that tight spot, let's go ahead collectively. Let's take 4 breaths here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, soften the face. Soften the area. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Allow gravity to just sink you into the floor. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in once more. Breathe out once more. And when you're ready, let's go ahead. Let's do the other side. Rolling on to our next hip flexor. Let's go side to side. Up and down, all around. Finding those areas. And we're just kind of communicating to these areas, kind of starting a conversation that we may have never started before to these hip flexors. Or maybe we have with the foam roller, but it was just too intense. It's because it feels like you're on a plank, you're working out at the same time you're trying to relax. It's kind of difficult. That's why I really like doing this with the kettlebell, just because the kettlebell is doing the work for you with the downward pressure and all the weights kind of being put on to this area. And again, once you find that tight spot, take a couple breaths. And again, just communicating to this area that, hey, it's okay to relax sometimes. You don't have to be on at every single moment. You just relax. And once you find those spots, let's take a couple breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Last inhale. Last exhale. Cool. Let's go ahead, drop the kettlebell to the side, and let's sit up, seated position with our legs extended out. And this time, we're going to get into our quads. This is going to hurt. Let's go ahead, let's place the kettlebell right into our high quad here. Let's first start off with just going up and down, rolling the kettlebell. I like to go 2 inches down, 1 inch up, 2 inches down, 1 inch up. That way we're kind of working our way down, moving all the lymphatic fluid all around. And usually the outside of the quad is typically the tightest part. This is what really stabilizes the knee when we're walking or running, especially when we're running, squatting, or even swinging a kettlebell. Again, just whatever spot makes you want to cringe, allow yourself to breathe, relax. It's uncomfortable, but just kind of lean into that discomfort a little bit. Instead of jumping around and kind of bouncing, allow yourself to kind of breathe, relax. Allow this discomfort to be an opportunity to relax. Oh yeah. Kind of working our way towards the knee, on top of the knee. Ugh. Up and down, side to side. Again, once we find that spot, let's take a couple breaths. I usually like to take 4 breaths in total. Let's count that as 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Inhale. Exhale for 4. Good. Let's go ahead, drop the kettlebell down. Let's work our way over to the other side. Wow, I just felt a big blood rush there. Bring it high into that high quad. And again, start to work your way up and down. Again, I like to go 2 inches down, 1 inch up. Again, imagine yourself on a foam roller right now. You'll be just in a plank position and probably a little bit too hard on the quad. This kind of, it still sucks and hurts, but at least you can regulate how much pressure you'd like, either with the size of the kettlebell that you have. Right now I'm using a 35-pound kettlebell, which is a good amount of pressure, but you can always find a lighter kettlebell or even a heavy one if you really want to dig in there. By the way, it's kind of passive. You're not really working too hard here. Just leaning into the pain a little bit. That's all we're doing. Again, once we find that spot, breathe. Again, let's find that trigger point and let's start to breathe. 4 breaths here. Let's take a breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out for 3. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and drop that kettlebell down. Woo! So that was step 1 of this mobility process, softening and tenderizing the tissue. The second one, now we're going to lengthen the tissue. So this is going to work. Let's place the kettlebell right behind us. We're going to find our way into a couch stretch. So how that looks, I'm going to have my right knee up and my left foot back. And I'm going to use this kettlebell as a pedestal by placing the ball of my toe on the kettlebell. And I want to put the ball of my toe just because I eventually want to get out of this position. And if I don't have the ball of my foot, I'm just kind of flat up here. It's kind of hard to do that from here. So we like to do mobility positions to where we're actively kind of going in and out of the position. So from here, let's go ahead. Let's first start establishing some cues. So I'm going to give you guys a little look-see here. I'm going to scoop the pelvis up towards my face, and then I'm going to squeeze this left glute as hard as I can. And already I feel an intense stretch here. And what I'm going to do, you don't have to move, but if you want, you can lean forward just a little bit, just as long as you're not losing that integrity. I'm just not kind of like, bleh, you know, keeping everything nice and tight and tucked as I move forward. So from here, we're going to do 4 hard breaths. Every time we exhale, we're going to squeeze the glutes and pinch the floor together with our foot and our knee. Let's go ahead, let's get started here, y'all. Big breath in. Exhale, intensely scissor the floor together, squeeze that back glute. 2 more times, inhale. Exhale, keep it tucked, scissor. Inhale. Exhale for 3. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, 4, hold it, squeeze it, and relax. Woo. Let's go, let's do the other side. So right now what we're doing, we're kind of lengthening some overactive tissue, which is our quad and our hip flexor, and strengthening perhaps some underactive one, which is our glutes and our lower abs. And this is a perfect stretch that you can do on your own every day for a little bit to get yourself mobilized in these areas. So from here, let's go ahead, let's bring that other knee up. Back foot is back on the ball of the foot. And again, tucking the pelvis under, pulling the belly button to the spine, squeezing that back glute. Once you find your way, once you find your position, let's go ahead, let's take our 4 intense breaths here. Take a breath in. Exhale, squeeze and drive forward, scissoring the knee and the foot together. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze, scissor together. Inhale. Exhale for 3. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, tight, scissor, squeeze, and relax. Woo! Oh, that is the couch stretch. Out of any exercises that we do in this series, I highly recommend that one. I call it the couch stretch just because imagine the floor is the seat of a couch, and imagine the kettlebell as the backrest of the couch. So you can do this as you're watching TV, lounging around, or if you find a seat, you can get that going. Or if your knees start to hurt when you're on a walk, find a bench and do the same thing. Highly recommend this one. Now, the third step, we're going to strengthen the tissues that we just softened and lengthened. So what we're going to do, maybe like to grab a wall or a post, or if you want to challenge your balance, we're going to be challenging that for this one. So I'm going to bring the kettlebell right above my left knee. And from here, find your post or don't. Inhale, pull the knee up and hold in this position. And same thing, we're going to freeze in this position for 4 hard breaths. So I'll take a big breath in. Exhale, drive the knee up a little bit higher. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, squeeze higher, hold it, and relax. Woo! So that is how we can strengthen that hip flexor psoas kind of area. Now, on over to the other side. I'm going to imagine there's a tree here by irradiating tension and creating a fist over on this other side. Kettlebell is on my right knee. Pull it up on the breath in. Exhale, pull it up higher. Call this 1. Inhale. Exhale, pull and hold for 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Last one, inhale. Exhale, 4, hold it. And down. Woo! So that's kind of working into our frozen strength here in that hip flexed position. So that was part one of our hip mobility sequence. We first started off with softening those congested areas of our hip flexors and our quads. We then lengthen those areas into that intense couch stretch and elevating our foot with the kettlebell. And then thirdly, we strengthen those areas by lifting the kettlebell up and loading our knee and our hip flexor, utilizing our breath with each and every rep. As you can see, this only took around 10 to 15 minutes. That's how long each of this series is going to last. So hopefully you can kind of download these positions and these exercises into your system and implement it into your routine. With that being said, stick around, follow along, and let's get into part two.